Nigeria's upper house of parliament is working on two parallel tracks which will result in the presentation of a bill that's going to compel large commercial entities, especially those in the telecom sector and the oil sector, to list their shares on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Wole Famurewa has more.
Yeah, hi Lorato. Well, you are the National Economic Summit Group meeting, and obviously you heard when the central bank governor was quite vocal on this topic. He like the parliament, as we've heard yesterday, saying that companies, most of the multinational companies in Nigeria should be forced to list, more so because they are gaining so much from this economy and they need to give back. Joining me to give his thoughts on this issue is Opeyemi Agbaje, regular face on the program. He's the CEO of Resources and Trust. Thanks so much for coming onto the show, Opeyemi. Well, first of all, let me get your thoughts. There's obviously a precedent about forcing companies to list in Nigeria. In the 70s, we had the indigenization of companies. That's when the likes of Guinness, Nigerian Breweries, subsidiary of Heineken, etc., got on the stock exchange. But what are your thoughts on this call from the parliament? Do you think it's something that makes sense for this market?
I would like to see, like parliament, maybe like the CBN governor, I would like to see large telecoms companies, large FMCGs, the upstream oil companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. What I don't think we should embark on is forcing these people to list. I think the psychology behind the forced listings is a wrong one. Investment is a contest in which funds decide based on the attractiveness of the market, the transparency of your capital market, the business environment, the investment climate in the country, which country to go. We can compel those who are already here, but we can't compel those who are still thinking about investment. I think it's an error, just like indigenization in the 70s was an error. I think it freezes the inflow of capital to this economy, and that's what it would do. And it provides perverse incentives. So some elites who would like to be shareholders of MTN will lobby parliament to make a law so that they get on the board of MTN. But does it change the structure of the economy? Does it ensure that you do the right things to make investments come into the economy, to improve investment climates? I don't think so. So the element of force, compulsion, is something I strongly disagree with.
Well, obviously, indigenization has been a touchy subject, and of course, the laws have been changed in Nigeria. That's no longer the issue. People can bring in capital freely and own 100% of companies today. But
well, when you say forced listing, then you can't own 100%.
That's true, indeed.
And so the same psychology behind indigenization is at play. It's a different method, but I think it's the same psychology. And it's that psychology that I think
some will argue that if you look at the development of Nigeria's stock market today, even though, yes, indigenization may have had some issues, as a result of that, we've seen companies, like I mentioned earlier, Unilever, Nigerian Breweries, Nestle, all get listed on the stock exchange, and then it obviously depends.
But we've also had many more companies that listed voluntarily. We had all the banks list voluntarily, even before the capital requirements required them to. We had GTB go to the market voluntarily. So the point is this: create the right conditions. Why must we think that it's only by compelling people? Build a credible stock exchange, build a good investment climate, do the right things in terms of policy, and investors will come. Now, if we want, and I don't say that we should not encourage, if we think, and I clearly, like I said at the beginning, I think it's desirable, but if we want to encourage foreign entities in the country, I think we should go the way of incentives, of benefits, of encouragement, of moral suasion, of doing engagement with those people rather than a compulsion, which can have the negative effect of deterring further investment in that economy.
Let's talk a bit about those possible negative effects. We know, for instance, in markets like Tanzania, this is a policy that was put forward, and obviously many of the telcos in Tanzania are fighting that bill. In Ghana, it's something that they're already thinking about. But what signal do you think this is sending right now? Obviously, these headlines are going around the world today.
Exactly, and that's my concern. If you were thinking in New York or in Joburg or in London about a investment in Nigeria 2 years down the line, and you suddenly saw on CNN or CNBC Nigeria to compel listings, to forced listings, and then you read the arguments of people that these people are making money in this economy, they're doing well in they must give, they must share the thing. I think that many investors will suspend their plans. So for me, like I said, you can only compel those who are already in the country. You can't compel those who are thinking about it. And that's the larger pool of capital that we should be talking to, rather than the limited ones that are already here. Yes, I want them to list. I believe the benefits are obvious: deepening our capital market, spreading the base of share ownership. But I think we can get them to do these things through persuasion and incentives rather than compulsion.